This is Hortoccult. We're here to talk about plants. Let's get it on. Hey, this is Beeflane. What's up, everybody? I am making a little video. The other night we had a sit down with Mike and Samantha, and we talked about some stuff, and this is us just jumping right into it. We're just talking about things that we wanted to talk about. We're old friends from university days, and talk about what we're doing, where we've been, stuff we've done in the industry, and just as a little intro, so enjoy. Peace. Plant on, Babylon.
So what do you do in the field?
I don't do anything in the field.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah, I work for Intermountain Healthcare. I'm one of their IT guys.
Oh.
So I just wanted the, what do they call it? The sheepskin. I just wanted the bachelor's.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I thought if I do it in computers, I'll kill myself. So I might as well do it in something I enjoy and love. And because I was a 45-year-old, man with kids at home, and it's a lot harder to do when you're older.
I bet.
So.
And you already had the computer background and computer job, so it's not.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, the whole landscape design kind of satisfied the creative niche, because I love the creativity thing, and then the plant end too. It was really a perfect degree for me, I think, as far as being able to satisfy that as well. So when I said earlier about I should have just done plant science, it's nice to have the design end of it.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was kind of a way to be a little different kind of creative in it, instead of just all sciencey, figuring out how to grow plants and stuff, which it's not really, I don't consider it art, because it was too measured.
Mm-hmm.
Like it formulaic, and how to like put it together in the process. But
art's pretty measured though.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, I always thought it was like outside the box, and you're kind of, I guess it's true, you're like leading your eye around the whatever. But yeah, I guess I just never interpreted art that way.
Well, people that really know study, right? Art.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
They go to school for it.
And don't have jobs after.
You know somebody? Huh?
No.
About the same as
I
plant
just
science.
figured. Yeah, that's a good point. Where you don't need a degree in plant science, you could just do it, but everyone does it. But whatever, as long as you're getting results. You didn't work at all when you were at doTERRA? I thought you worked as a gardener.
I guess I did work I worked as their head horticulturist for their landscape in Pleasant Grove. That's true. But I didn't start at doTERRA at that. I started as in the call center and worked my way up to maintenance.
You worked your way up to maintenance. That's where you really wanted to be.
Well, call center's pretty. Yeah, I've done that for years too. It is up from there, sure.
Well, see, actually, this is how it went. So I was in the call center. I then went to be a trainer. I was helping with things internationally, and then I got burnt out. And then I was like, I guess I'll work on the landscape, which was fun when I was working on the landscape. But when I got to patch holes in the wall and shovel snow, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
It's not what I want to do.
Was Marinda the same? They're two different. You were the Marinda gardener.
Yeah, I was Marinda. No, they're totally different. doTERRA and Marinda.
Yeah.
But they're both MLMs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the similar part. No, Marinda had their heyday in the 90s. So I joined in when they were going down a little bit. And the whole juice stuff phase or whatever with what is the other one? Zango. They broke off from Noni. There was a whole freaking thing. They stole clients, they stole software, they stole all this stuff. Like some head people broke away and stole all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened with doTERRA. Well,
did it really?
They got fired, and then they were like, well, Young Living is where they all started at, and then they got.
Oh, so doTERRA is the breakoff of Young Living?
But they did it legally, because Young Living came after them, and there was nothing that they could prove that anything was done. So they didn't steal clients, they didn't steal recipes, they left everything there. But they took their minds that helped build the business.
Yeah. Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I just saw on I look up jobs, and there was a Young Living grower person for the lavender fields. I was like, that sounds freaking cool. You're out there producing the stuff and making sure all the lavender is growing all right. And then you're doing business side stuff. So I was like, interesting. It didn't have a price tag on it though. I'm not going to work for $15 an hour.
Yeah, $15 an hour is not worth it. That's the thing with doTERRA's when I was working there is I was making $12 an hour doing the landscape stuff. And I was like, finance will pay me 22.
Yeah. No, I never made at Marinda. I wasn't making very much. And then at the U, I wasn't making very much, but the benefits at the U were great. Holy crap. That's what made it worth it.
That's way nice.
But I did 2 winters up at the U where they would just call you. There's a storm. You have to be here in an hour. And the hospital was our main one that we'd have to shovel. So all the stairs. And you just have to keep going. Keep going.
The eternal loop of snow removal.
Yeah. If after a storm was like done, we had to have every sidewalk clear, every stairway, at least a path to get through in the whole campus. So everybody was on deck. So you're out there shoveling and salting, and
that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So we all had areas already like pre-planned out. So we just show up and you just make the rounds. Yep. And where people like were late or whatever, then we would go and help out.
Interesting.
Yay. But the irrigators, they had the sweetest. So the irrigators, they had a truck that had all their irrigation equipment during the summer. In the winter, they got to drive tractors. So they were like doing like the big sidewalk plowing. All the other gardeners had shovels.
More manual labor.
Yeah. Good luck, suckers. It was really fun.
So did you just stay there for 2 seasons then?
Yeah, it was. I started in the spring and ended on the spring. So yeah, okay. It was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. I liked it a lot. When I say that, my old boss, he's like, "You what? You liked it?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. I gotta be outside." I mean, it's like janitor work for outside, because it was like. At the U anyway, we had to go pick up garbage and make sure it was tidy and clean and blow everything off. A lot of our stuff was like safety for like liability.
Oh.
So make sure everything was clear off and there wasn't anywhere for people to slip and fall and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
But it was fun.
Sounds like work. The older I get, the more actually I'm a little jealous of people that actually physically work for a living too, because that used to be my work. I used to landscape the heck out of my yard. I always working in my yard every 8, 10, 12 hours Saturday and 10 hours during the week. And that was my exercise. But then going to school, about 2 years in, I stopped all that, and man, my body just fell apart, back and all that stuff. Now I have a hard time getting back to the yard.
Yeah, you had like a cool setup. I don't. You just told me about it. Like with your weather station and
yeah, I did the hoop house for a long time. We did a lot of gardening, and now it's just looks like a dead well out there, with just a spine of a hoop house and stuff. But my daughter and son and I, our goal this year is the scorched earth policy. I've just been removing weeds and shrubs, and then I get out there with a torch and
yeah, that's fun. I actually bought one of those, so I have one waiting when I can do it.
Yeah,
because I don't have any yard in the back.
Uh-huh.
It's just so I have to clean it out every year. Like, oh yeah, torch it, baby. It's so fun.
I live in Harriman, so we get a lot of call. People are a little fire tender out there, so I have to be selective when I burn. But even anymore, I just burn. Like you can't pull everything, so you go, so even then I just burn what's left, and it looks good, because you don't have dead weeds in the dirt anymore. You kind of just scorch them off the top. But yeah, I've got a scorched earth policy right now in my yard, just removing stuff. So trying to get back a handle on it again.
It's the worst when weeds take over. The worst.
Well, it's big. It's a big lot too, so I don't want to.
How big?
2/3 of an acre, but
oh, okay.
And it's
a lot.
well designed. not well designed, but over designed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a lot of flower beds, a lot of areas for weeds to grow. Where my neighbors are like 2/3 of an acre of lawn. That wasn't my style. So, but it's more work.
For sure.
So how's your yard looking?
Well, we put up a new fence, so it's looking great now.
It would just pull that a little closer to you, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So you did it? Do you install it?
Yeah, we installed it. Yeah.
Oh, I saw pictures of was it your mom and dad?
No, it was actually my husband's aunt and uncle that came and helped us, and then a couple of the neighbors. So my one neighbor's a junk collector, and it was fine. We didn't mind so much, and we just had one of those old-fashioned like field fences.
That's why the fence is better, huh?
Yeah, because people would come over, they'd be like, "Oh, I want to see your garden," and they'd come, they'd look at it, and they'd be like, "Oh, what is he doing over there?" Because we're in the middle of American Fork, so it's kind of weird to see a redneck house in the middle of the city. It was pretty bad.
It is American Fork. No, just kidding.
Fair, but
I've never lived in American Fork, so I can't say
that. I love my fence. It's so nice. Well, it's just such a nice, solid wall.
Good fences make good neighbors, right?
So what kind of wood did you use?
We just used the cedar posts.
Okay.
And then just treated lumber for the actual support posts. So
You gonna paint it or seal it, or what is it? The oil? What's that oil that's supposed to be like organic and stuff? I forget. It's like you put it on like raised garden beds. So you use it with that. It's like some sort of, I want to say oil.
Like a water.
Yeah, it's supposed to help keep it.
But it won't leach into your plants. Is that
right? Exactly. Or if it does, it's not toxic.
Right.
Linseed oil? Is that a thing that you
might be
put
linseed?
On? Could be.
Is that what you put on? I don't know.
We hope to eventually, but right now I've got all my raspberries growing up against it, so it'll probably be until fall before I do that, because they got pretty trampled with trying to build the fence.
Yeah.
It was a sacrifice.
It does not take long for it to start looking like, oh crap. Because our little deck in the back, but it gets the hot afternoon sun, and it's like I need to redo it, and it's only been 2 years.
Oh wow.
So yeah, wood's beautiful, but man, it'll turn nasty on you pretty quick.
Yeah, I believe it. But for right now, it's beautiful.
It's more what it does than what it looks like.
Yes, exactly. It was a project, though. Oh my goodness. Because you think you're just digging holes, you're putting in posts, and then you're just nailing in as you go along. You have to level it from every direction. You have to make sure the lines are straight. You have to make sure the wood's not tilting, and so you're not walking the posts. Glad that there were other people helping, because my fence would have been falling over. More
of professional. Are you glad you did it yourself?
Yeah, mostly because we had people that knew what they were doing.
Okay.
Because we had a neighbor that's an engineer that's built a lot of those types of fences, and so he was able to just help tell us what to do, and then we had people that were just good at following instructions, and that made it great.
I'm a big believer in not using contractors if you've got the energy to do it, because nobody cares as much as you do.
That's true.
Very true.
I just don't want to do it twice.
I know. But
the fine line.
But if you've got the ability and the time and money to do it, then I like to do it myself.
Oh, then you learn a new skill.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I do like working with wood, but
contractors don't care like you do, though.
That's true. They're just trying to pound it out as fast as they can.
As soon as their taillights are gone, you can't see. It's done. So
yeah,
or you care more.
By the time that fence starts falling apart, they're closed their doors of their fence company.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get a hold of them.
Not to slam on contractors, because I've got several friends, but they don't care as much as you do about your own fence. So.
Yeah, because it's just a project to get done.
Mm-hmm.
That was what was kind of cool about. So I went and volunteered with these dudes that we had on the podcast, Foodscaping. I don't know if you saw that one, but what they do is they have organized a nonprofit service type deal where you have to apply to get them to put in these raised garden beds, and then they have volunteers that will come in and install them for you. So they remove lawn. They typically try to do it in the front because that's where they get the most, or wherever the most sun is
Hmm.
to harvest the sun. That's what he said that was kind of interesting to me too. Is like, it makes sense. It's like you're harvesting sun. You're not really needing to water it as much. But like, yeah, so find the sunniest spot, and then if it's lawn, they don't even rip it out. They don't even spray it. They just cover it with a mulch. It was cardboard, which I'm not sure if that's okay, but I guess if you're trying to kill the lawn, sure. But they did it over the whole area, even where they're putting the beds. At least the one that I went to, maybe other ones they've done differently.
Hmm.
And then they mulch it like 4 to 5 inches of like just bark mulch. And then these guys hadn't treated their wood, and they had more construction lumber. I guess if you get more of like a redwood, it doesn't decay as fast.
Right.
Or doesn't decay. I don't know if it as fast is appropriate, but it's a lot more expensive. It's like 2 or 3 times more expensive. But they only had 2, and then they did layering in the boxes of compost and topsoil, and made like a stratus. We didn't even mix it. I was like, felt like we should have mixed it, but I mean, I was just along for the ride. I was just a volunteer. But I'm like, I've never done it. He's done it, like a bunch of them. So
Yeah.
here we go. And he just said you could just use compost. Just fill the whole thing up with compost, as long as it wasn't manure compost. So it'd be like, because it gets too salty.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty cool. That sounds really easy.
It was super fun. I mean, and it didn't take a lot. And he had all these guys, and the person installing it, the only thing that they had to do was come up with the materials. They had trucks and other volunteers that were bringing in the compost and stuff. And actually, they're up in Ogden, and they got the city to give them compost.
Oh,
So from the city compost pile or whatever.
nice.
So they're donating it. I don't know where I was going with this, but way cool.
Yeah, it's a lot better than how I built my boxes.
Yeah.
Sure. I just got a truckload of topsoil, which ended up just being clay, and it's taken me years to
Yeah, you
rectify
can't-
that mistake.
Yeah.
You can't buy better soil than you already have, because it's just crap. Yeah.
It's true.
Yep.
You don't know where, if you buy topsoil, you don't know where they're getting it from, or if they've screened it properly, or if they've treated you could be having a bunch of seeds in there. You have no idea.
Yeah, Larry Sagers used to say, just throw compost, just amend what you have.
Yeah.
Amend it, because you probably have better than what you're buying.
Yeah, we actually, like, our property didn't have very good soil in it because it was all gravel and all like weed barrier, and they just parked vehicles all along it. And so I just didn't want to grow stuff out of that, just because you didn't know what was in the soil. So that's why we put in all the boxes. But since we had nothing to work with.
Yeah. Well, they'll come into these neighborhoods, and first thing you do is harvest all the topsoil, and they sell it.
Yeah, they
And
just
so you're on subsoil. When you come into a new house, you've got subsoil.
Okay.
So that's why it's all gravel and all that, because they've already harvested and sold all the farm topsoil off. So
then they bring in, like for my lawn area, they brought in topsoil that wasn't from my area.
right.
So I have this layer of topsoil on top where they did all of the irrigation stuff or whatever. I don't even think they dug down into the subsoil. So yeah, that's fun. It drains better though than the subsoil. So I'm glad they brought in topsoil
Yeah.
instead of just laying the.
Well, it's hit and miss, right? You could get all clay, or you could get all sand, or maybe you could get a good soil, but
yeah.
you don't, unless you care to go out there and test it yourself. You don't know.
It's true.
Who was our soil guy? Do you remember his name?
Yeah, Paul Grossel.
Yeah, he was big into it, wasn't he?
He went with you to Japan.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish I would have went that time. Like and you missed it. She applied with us.
Did she really?
And they let these stinking like people from the main campus
mhm.
come instead of her. Because they weren't even in the maybe they were in the agricultural college.
You mean they actually I'm shocked that I got selected over somebody else.
I think you were late. I think that's what happened.
Why
Yeah.
would I get to go?
I think you were just a little on the late side because we had this lady. I mean, she was awesome, but she was in astrology.
What?
Yeah, she was an astrology major. She had nothing to do with agriculture whatsoever. She just wanted a trip to Japan.
That's all
And
I wanted.
she applied. I couldn't believe how much money they gave us. Like when we got there, they like they gave everybody money. I guess even the French ones or whatever. But we got like way more than anybody else. And we were just like, "Hi,
Just rub
let's just
salt
take
in that
all this,
wound.
and we didn't even care." And then none of us were agriculture. Like, I mean, there was like maybe 1 or 2 farmer guys in the group of 8,
Oh yeah, our local guys. Yeah,
but that was it.
that was fun.
I know, Paul. That would have been awesome to go with Paul.
I'm gonna say he was there, wasn't he? But
Yeah, he went with
just
you.
Wasn't really with us.
Did you
Oh,
guys
he
go
wasn't with
different
you?
years?
Didn't seem like he was
Or
with
same,
us.
did you guys go different years or same years?
Yeah, back to back. He went first, and I went
Okay.
with Mike, the other Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was so sad. I was so sad about it. And I was so excited to apply when I got on campus because I thought I'd have a greater chance. But then they didn't do it the next year.
Mm.
Oh, they didn't.
They didn't.
You know, I don't think we left a very good impression.
Oh really?
Me and Mike. I don't think, or maybe they didn't offer it to the extension. They might not offer.
I
it
was
to
on
the-
Logan campus when I
Oh, did
was
you went
excited
up
to-
there?
mhm,
I didn't know
with
that.
the intention and hope that they would let me go. Because
And
I felt
then
like they
they
pulled
didn't
more
do
people
it.
from on campus than off. But
So the program was supposed to be an exchange, and no one was
Ah.
exchanging. No one was going to the Japanese campus, so they couldn't send people to our campus. So it had to
Okay.
be a mutual like swapperoonie.
You mean nobody's going to school?
Yeah,
Or
to go
nobody-
to actually go to school in Japan.
Yeah.
ah,
They were coming here to go to school. But
Yes.
we weren't going there to go to school.
Yeah.
that
yeah.
makes sense.
And then they were doing it with the Filipinos too, so
Mhm.
and the French, so they were all swapping. And then nobody from our campus was swapping with them.
Mhm.
So I could see why they ended it.
Okay, that does make sense.
Well, why would you want to leave Logan if you wanted ag?
Right.
It wasn't just ag, like you say. So, but Logan has such great ag stuff.
It's true.
And they did say like you didn't have to do like Japanese courses. They had English courses for you to take of just like or learn Japanese or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's
Okay.
kind of like losing a year or a semester or whatever. So I can see why it's hard. It would be awesome to live there though. It was way fun. It was way cool.
I bet you and Mike had a party.
We did. It was so great. Well, you got to think they were all like 19-year-olds. And
At
we
least and I had a good time. But
well, didn't you go out and have fun with Paul, or
Mhm.
was he just gone?
he wasn't there much. I don't know what we
What,
didn't
he
see
did?
him a ton. Yeah.
We didn't even have a teacher with us. Like all the other schools had like chaperones.
Interesting. Well, you guys were older. Did that make a
I
difference?
guess we were the chaperones, but they assigned little Japanese people, girls,
Yeah.
to follow us to
Mhm.
make sure we didn't get in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and we would ditch them
Hmm.
all the time. We like would take a bus and go see like something in the town.
I didn't have that kind of courage.
It was easy. Well, there
Yeah.
was 3 of us too, though.
Yeah.
And I think the girl that took your spot, I'm going to refer to her as that, she kind of knew Japanese. So
makes a
she was
difference.
like helping us out. We could get to the mall.
Well, they all knew English. It's just
Oh,
they
yeah. Didn't say it.
they didn't want to use it because they were. I got the impression they didn't want to be embarrassed that it wasn't perfect
Oh.
English.
Right.
You know, very polite, and so they knew what I was saying, but they didn't necessarily want to communicate back. And I understand that's their culture. So
Well, what was weird too is like they didn't tell us we had to have a presentation. Did you have to do a presentation?
I don't remember.
So no one told us until we were there, and we're like, "What? We have to do what?" And
I bet they told you.
they may have told us, and maybe we didn't understand.
It
but
sounds like
they
they
knew
probably
bef-
told you.
the other groups knew before they
Uh-huh.
got there.
Yeah, I kind of remember something.
So
like that
they
now.
were all like preparing and doing this stuff, all this before they even came. And we're like, huh? And me and Mike threw this thing together, like a couple pictures on a PowerPoint. And we're like, we just sat up there and talked. The problem for the other groups was they had to do it in English.
Mm.
So you
Oh.
had everyone else doing it in their second language, and then we could just go up there and riff and talk really fast, and no one knew what we were saying. But the other kids, even in our group, so we split it. We said, you talk about this, and we're going to talk about this. And when they got done, we went up and we just had these pictures and we were just talking and whatever. I think we just said, what is unique about our region? What's unique about Utah and the Great Basin or whatever? Because that's what we freaking learn about.
Yeah.
And the girl that took your spot, she was like, you guys,
The chosen one.
you didn't even have to look.
Just salt in the wound. Just keep rubbing it in.
She's like, you guys knew it. We didn't have notes. We didn't have anything. And we were just up there riffing it up. And she's like, I think that's what made us get through. But then they kind of attacked us a little bit on GMOs. HMOs,
probably.
genetically modified.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So because we're like one of the only countries that do it. No one else can afford it, I guess, apparently. But yeah, we weren't prepared for that question. We're just like, it just is. It is. We do
like
it.
science. It's cool.
Science is fun.
Well, there's your lawyer take, right? You got the whole Monsanto thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like GMOs. I think they're useful. I think people don't want to garden, and because of that, they don't want to grow their own food. We need GMOs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up. If people don't want to produce their own food, then.
Well, yeah, like back in the 70s, they predicted the food crash or population crash because we wouldn't have enough food to feed everybody. And then we figured out how to feed everybody.
It's true. And it's not just Americans that are benefiting off of that. I mean, they send that food worldwide. So, yeah, without the GMOs, a lot of people would starve. And people just don't look at it that way. They're just like, ooh, scary, unknown science. It's evil.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know it. I'm not really comfortable. I don't know it. That's the thing
Right.
too. I
Same
didn't
here.
learn. We learned about how herbicides and pesticides are one of the least things to worry about, like in like toxicity or hazard or able to kill people, because they're not that. If you're used the right way, the proper way, in the right amounts, and handled properly, you're not going to hurt people. But I don't know anything about freaking GMOs, man. I didn't learn anything about that. I learned about freaking roses and hybrid teas and shit like that.
I learned about GMOs and they were so cool.
Did you? What class?
I think it was a plant propagation on campus.
Probably
For the one
plant
semester.
science instead of.
Oh,
Yeah. We got to do some really cool stuff in the lab. Like we got to take some stem cells from some ferns and turn those into plants. And so we were building ferns in test tubes.
wow.
It was really sweet.
I know, like the highest deep science I got was structure and function.
Also a fun class.
Also very fun,
Mhm.
but it's just basically
Turgid.
a deeper high school biology,
Yeah.
specifically into plants. So what else? What else you do? I want to know.
I don't know. There was lots of cool stuff. And I just really like the sciencey part of it. So thought I'm on the spot. I don't know.
You'll think of something.
I mean, GMOs are pretty cool though, because I mean, the basic idea of it is they're just taking, they're not even, it's just a really natural way that they're doing it. So they're just taking like a virus and they're just having the virus, which would just in nature insert DNA into a plant to just do that. So they're teaching the virus to put in a different type of DNA rather than its infective one. So
Whoa.
it's still using the same basic principles in nature, which is pretty surprising because you think, oh, they're just doing weird stuff in a lab with lasers and I don't know, some sort of radiation. But no, it's just using the same basic principles that you would see things in the wild doing themselves.
Well, I think that's kind of cool.
It's like
that-
hybridization, but to the nth degree, right down to
Exactly.
the cellular level, or DNA level.
And I think that's how we kind of rebutted their argument. And I think they were like, how can you be okay with how harmful GMOs are? And I'm just like, well, GMOs is like, we look at it as like more of like a breeding program.
Right. And I mean, what's the proof that it is harmful at this point? there's not really anything that shows that there's.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you got this one settlement about Roundup,
Yeah, but
but
that
that's not
actually
has
supported on the
nothing to do with
facts.
GMOs, right?
Yeah, that was, and that wasn't even based on the facts. That's just what the jury decided. My cousin's actually a virologist, and he studied viruses in plants and has his doctorate degree in that. And so he understands it at a very, very deep level. And everything in that case was not about the actual science of what happens. It was just the fear of people saying, this is scary. So we don't know what they're talking about.
What was the settlement? I hadn't heard.
Oh, a dude got like
Tons of
it
money.
was like 300 million for a cancer. So they said that he was a groundskeeper at an elementary school or something, and to me, he said that it was the vapors, and so not even spraying it, so just coming off of like Roundup or glyphosate. He didn't even. I think they ended up going after Roundup, like specifically.
That's who'd have the money.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's like, to me, it made me think of like
Monsanto.
Okay,
Isn't that Monsanto?
if you're
No.
Monsanto, who just sold to Bayer,
Oh, really?
yeah, like right before the
Like BAYER, Bear?
yeah, like the
medicine.
medicine, yeah, pharmaceutical
Mhm.
company. And if you think about it, though, he would have used 2,4-D way more. Because if you're at a school, you're
Yeah.
not using very much Roundup,
Right. Because you're killing the grass if you are.
right? So in the flower beds, you're using Roundup, or on the sidewalks, you're using Roundup, or rock mulch beds, or whatever.
Is he talking about the 2,4-D will actually vaporize is the wrong word. It will.
It does.
It
That is
will.
the word.
Is it vaporize?
It's close. I
It's,
know what you're talking about.
At a certain temperature.
What is that called?
Yeah.
It is very close to vaporize.
But it's not vaporized. So I can't think of it.
It's the same general idea.
But that 2,4-D does that, but glyphosate doesn't.
Right.
That's why you're not supposed to use 2,4-D above
A certain
X degrees,
temperature.
85
Yeah.
or 80.
Vapor drift.
Vapor drift.
Dang it! What is that? Volatilize.
Volatilize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man.
So yeah.
So anyway,
destroys
with what you're saying, it was more likely he was using 2,4-D and not.
Yeah. Well, see, that was what. So how did they determine that this very specific lung cancer was caused by Roundup or glyphosate? And how do you know what brand he was using? Because Roundup is a brand, glyphosate is the active ingredient.
Mhm.
If you have a yard or a lawn or a field, you are not using, because there is no, unless that lawn is a GMO for Roundup, which I don't think exists. I mean, I don't know. That just seems very, because that's how corn, they were able to do that with corn
Right.
and other like what else?
Probably like soybeans and those types of.
Which one?
I feel like soybeans are one of the
Soybeans.
Big-
That one's a
big
huge
crops,
one. The soybeans.
Mhm.
Alfalfa. I think they figured out how to use that, so they're spraying the entire field with Roundup.
Right.
It kills everything but that specific GMO.
Well, actually, maybe they're doing that too, but they're also spraying Roundup, and this is where it's off-label kind of. Well, is they're spraying their field just before harvest, so they're killing their hay and the alfalfa and those things, because they've always said glyphosate isn't once it's inactive or inert, it's not dangerous to humans,
right.
and it's on the soil and those type of things. But they're actually spraying the crop just a few weeks before harvest to kill it, more for, and I could have my facts wrong, more for drying it out so that it could get to market quicker, right? So they can bale it and all that, because they control when it dies instead of just Mother Nature controlling when we can bale it.
See, I
This is
hadn't
plant
heard
science,
that. I actually have never heard that one before.
It makes sense why it'd be okay, because I mean, glyphosate has a lower LD50 than table salt.
Mm.
You can ingest more glyphosate than you can ingest table salt before.
Well, we were
consequences.
very protecting ourselves over the PPE at the U. Like when we're spraying Roundup, we had a full hazmat and 2 pairs of gloves and all this stuff, and we couldn't let it into our carts that we rode around with. People thought we were spraying like death. And it's like, what are you spraying? We're spraying Roundup. And we all had applicator licenses, which we did not required for Roundup or 2,4-D.
But from a liability standpoint, I can see why they'd want to make you do it. Just so
Right.
there's nothing that they can come back
That
on.
I think that was like the biggest
That's
thing.
all it is.
Anything we ever did was because of liability reasons.
Yeah.
The whole because people sue the
Lawsuits.
you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all it comes down to is nobody wants to have that lawsuit come up against them.
But we treated 2,4-D a lot more dangerous than we did Roundup. Just me and my friend anyway. I don't know about because we would go around together. We would spray everything together. So
Well, 2,4-D I feel like has a lot more unintended consequences just because it is so volatile. Once it reaches like 80 degrees,
right.
it kills everything. Well, at least it kills. It doesn't kill the grass, obviously, but all the neighboring shrubs and trees you didn't want
Mm-hmm.
affected.
I'll bet you if you took any street and you said, here's 2,4-D, don't use it in the summer. I mean, can you use this in the summer? Sure, yeah, it's weed killer. I buy it at Home Depot. I can use it. Nobody knows that, right?
Right.
Unless you're an applicator and it's more commercial. You don't. Even them, I don't know if they follow that.
Right.
Because they're spraying lawns like mad in August and July.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to. I was an applicator with
Mhm.
Freddie, but we never. I mean, I did use broadleaf, obviously, but I worked in more towards the fall. But he just puts it in the mix, so he pays attention and tells me what to put in the mix.
Yeah.
Because he was the one under control. He knew what lawns I was going to do. He was know
Yeah.
what they had paid for and everything.
But homeowners, they don't know. They just don't
No.
buy weed killer. They don't know.
Well, my
they don't read
neighbor-
the label either. I don't think.
He was told to buy 2,4-D over Roundup, and he was spraying his backyard, which there's no lawn. And I'm like, dude, you could have totally got Roundup, which is cheaper, and covered this whole area and killed everything. And
Yeah.
now you're only going to kill partial.
And not run the risk of killing other things with volatilization.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of the extension office, when things were dying from some
Oh,
sort of
see, you worked at the extension
Yeah,
office too.
that was like the second biggest call is why is my plant shriveling up? And it's like, oh, either you or your neighbor, they sprayed 2,4-D in the hot of July and August. And that's always what it was.
Yeah, my when we do it with my grandma's house, I guess it's my mother-in-law's living there now, so I've like taken over their stewardship of their yard,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't sell me at IFA. They wouldn't sell me pre-emergent fertilizer
Mm-hmm.
the day after they set the deadline. I was like, no, I'm buying this because I need it. And it was cold. It's been like rainy and stuff. So I applicated that, and now it's gone. So what they won't sell the step 2. So IFA has those step program.
Yeah.
So in step 2, they have weed killer in it, like a broadleaf inside of it, like a slow release, and they won't sell it after that point. They don't recommend you buy it and use it because now it's getting hot.
Yeah.
But I think the actual volatility, it depends on the brand or the formulation, what the volatilation. And I thought it was over 90. It was over 90. It wasn't 80s. But I could
It's
be
closer
wrong.
to 90.
Like
Closer to
88?
90.
I feel like it was closer to 80s.
Really?
I really do. I'll look it up, but
My neighborhood probably doesn't matter. The wind blows so much that it's not going to like drift. It's just
Is it? Do you? Okay, I can't remember. But can you spray it in the morning when it's cold?
no. It's like days at a time. It's like has to be
Yeah.
below 88 for 4
So
or 5
many
days
days.
at a time. Yeah.
Well, then it's like, okay, as a homeowner, the ratio of what you're putting on is not a lot.
True.
But when a farmer does it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
they could kill a whole neighborhood of trees.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
But I got a neighbor with half acre of grass, if they were to, probably
That's
more commercial, if they were to apply it with a sprayer and not a granular or something like that, they could impact somebody's fruit tree pretty
That's
easily
true.
next
That's a
door.
good point. That's a very good point, because Stewart's and Scott's or whoever, Freddie, they're doing broadleaf all the time.
Yep, that's what always happened to the extension office is someone's neighbor sprayed it and someone's tree died in the process or was starting to die and twist and curl.
Leaf drop. Oh man.
It'll rebound.
Just don't eat those fruit for a while.
Probably not. Probably no fruit to worry about.
I guess that's why you guys were talking about torches. That's a great way to get rid of your weeds then instead.
Oh yeah, it's fun. And it gets the seeds too.
That's true.
Well, that's where I first learned about it was weed prevent. Did we have a weeds class?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Is that they actually use it for just little seedlings. All you got to do is kind of flash them and they'll die.
Wasn't that Whiteside?
That was why
It was
yeah.
rough, yeah. Because they don't create enough chlorophyll to live. There's not enough in the roots. Now, it's not every plant. I mean, morning glory isn't going to care if you kill the
right.
You know, if you flash burn the top of morning glory, it's not going to care because it has
care
enough
anything.
energy in the roots. It'll just send more up. But a lot of plants, if it's green on top and very little root supply, you can flash burn the top, and they don't live because they're not producing enough.
Yeah.
Sugar. Wrong word.
I actually did it at Marinda. So there was 3 of us out there with torches. So we're carrying our propane tanks and just because they wouldn't let us like gather it up and have like a burn.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's organic.
Oh, totally.
You know.
Totally. I mean, you're
not throwing down
you have
Roundup.
the pollutants, I guess, from the smoke. What is it?
Yeah.
Like what do you call it?
Particulates?
Yeah. So yeah, you got that, but it's a lot less than. I mean, it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural.
That's true.
You're not supposed to breathe it still.
Well, snails are I'm laughing at all the snails. Have you seen a lot of snails in your yard?
I don't have snails.
I have snails.
You do?
I do.
I bet you do in American Fork. Have you noticed they're really bad this year?
They were pretty bad last year, but yeah, they're munching on my stuff.
I mean, I have a lot of areas I don't water at all. I have a lawn that's small compared to my yard, and I don't water. I have no trees in my grass, and I don't water my trees with my lawn. Right, they're watered separately, and I don't have many flower beds. And really, once you get away from, I have zones. You know, I water more here by the lawn and less away, so I don't overwater really anything. But as we've been doing a lot of weeding here the last few weeks, I'm like, man, these snails are everywhere. They are not going to be happy when the true Utah shows up here coming out, because there is not enough water in my yard to sustain them all. Because they'll all come to my lawn, just live right, on the perimeter of my lawn. But yeah, they are not going to be happy. This second wettest winter or second wettest spring ever is gonna.
Oh, jeez.
And
yeah, it was so wet.
It's gonna end, and these snails and stuff are gonna suffer.
So I've been working on yes, we have all these 4 houses. So my house and my 3 neighbors, water collects right at the post in the middle that we all share. So I've been struggling with how to get it out. I've been trying to get it out, and I actually dug by hand. I don't think I could do it again. A trench from the very corner all the way up to this gate up here.
Oh, really?
And it's you could just see how steep from the gate is like the highest point, and so it tapers off. So I'm having to dig deeper as the ground is getting higher.
Mm-hmm. Opposite of the way it should have been.
Yeah. So I dug this freaking trench, and it ended up being about 80 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and then at the front it was like 2 feet, and then it was almost like 4 feet at the end, because it just went up so much. And I had researched it. I tried doing a trench at first, like just a regular trench. It's like kind of grown over like the last year. So I just had the trench and I filled it with rocks. And I thought, oh, that's enough space or whatever. Nope. And then I had to remove all the rocks, and I dug, I looked online, and it's called a dry well. And it's about that tall. So like, what is that? 3 feet tall. So I dug a hole that deep, and it was like 2 feet wide. So I had to dig it 4 feet wide. And I stuck it in there, I took the rocks I had taken out, put in a membrane to keep the soil out of the rocks, which I hadn't done before, which I don't know what I was thinking. And then I filled that up, so it has that much more space for all that to fill in there. And then I have a pipe connected to it running down my 80 foot long trench. And then at the end of the trench, I put in a French drain, which is basically the same thing. It's just small and skinny. And please, let it work, and then it hasn't rained. It's like I get it all installed. I went through all this horrible like wet weather and got it installed.
Oh, you've just done it in the last few
just
weeks?
barely.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, I still have the blisters from digging.
Uh-huh.
Dang.
But that was my project.
Well, now you all start watering. It'll probably.
That's true. My neighbors both have yards or lawns, so one has stopped for some reason. I think they were having issues with their drainage or something. I don't know what they're doing, but they have a whole big old. Maybe they're putting in like a basement door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they have this huge hole dug, so I'm assuming that's what's going on, or they have a crack, so they're getting water in their basement. But man, that was fun.
Yeah.
Not really.
Sounds like a good workout.
Oh my gosh, I almost died twice. Not in a row, but it took months because I just putting it off, and then I'm just like, I gotta do it. This rain just made me like. Then I had to wait for the rain to stop so I could actually dig a hole.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of rain. So much.
I was
rain.
surprised. I really am. But Brad, he's like, don't tell people that it's not going to be dry. I mean, like the way you put it was perfect because it's like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
And it's going to come.
The real Utah will show up.
Yeah.
And we can hope that it's delayed, but we'll, if it's this year or next year, it'll show up. But.
Well, I was showing, I showed him the totals snowpack or whatever for Twilla County. Mm-hmm. So like up where I'm from, like North Willow, South Willow. Right now it's usually open. I guess it's still not open. They have like 10 feet of snow still. Like they can't even open up the canyon for people to go camping on Memorial Day. And it said the totals were like 14,000 above normal, 14,000% above normal. I mean, if it's not supposed to be any and you have 10 feet, yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
Oh, yeah.
But,
would they say 700 inches or more at Snowbird?
Oh, my gosh. Still?
No.
Oh, that
was the annual. That was the snowfall for the season. 700. And the big year is 500 inches. 500 is like, wow, we had 500 inches. And they heard 700 plus because I'd heard that over a month ago. And they got snow a few weeks ago. I know.
Wow. Right. It's good. We needed it.
Well, what'll happen is now the water companies will raise your rates, so you'll pay more for less water.
Oh, geez.
Of course, I have to pay for water. You guys might not, but
I do.
Well, yeah. What kind of water?
I have to pay for irrigation too. I only have culinary water.
Yeah, I only have culinary water.
We have irrigation water, but we have to pay for the irrigation water.
But
it's super cheap.
Is it metered?
No, it's not right now. But they are putting in the meters.
Oh. So you're sad. You're sad, but I'm happy because they need a meter irrigation.
Yeah, I mean they do. It's true. Yeah. But I do appreciate that it's not.
Because I have too many friends that like, it's $25 a year or a month. I'll just water all I want.
Right.
Yeah, that was it when I was in PG. I come to think of it. I wasn't metered. Yeah. It was just irrigated. They said, okay, you have to like not water these days. It's like, okay, how are you gonna regulate that? People just watered. Oh, you're an odd number. You water Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like you're supposed to.
Well, there's fines in American Fork if you don't water the right way. But I don't know how well they police it.
Right. How are they going to catch you?
Yeah.
Especially if you do it at 4 in the morning.
Nowadays they just shame you on your neighbors will shame you on the internet or they'll report you that way.
My neighbor is watering too much.
I'm so tempted to shame my neighbors. They're always watering, but it's like an apartment complex, so they don't know that they're always watering.
Yeah.
But it's pouring. It's pouring. We're getting an inch of rain, and their sprinklers are going. And I'm like, why? We don't need this right now.
And they're leaching the soil. They're leaching the salt out.
Great.
Oh, remember that in that class? I think it was the last class we had together. It was that culmination. I can't say that word. Of all the stuff, and then we had to do a design at the end. There was like we had it broken up by three different professors.
Yeah, for the campus up there in Kaysville.
Yeah, I think that was our last.
Did we win? Together. I mean, who did you ever notice that? I'm like, how did they determine what they did? Because I drive by there and it's been done.
Oh, has it really?
Something has been done up there.
I don't
because it's different than when we designed that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't hear.
The hills all along the highway there that separate that Kaysville campus
yeah.
and the ponds, they were just, when we were going, they'd let it go to weed. And so they said, it looks terrible. We need to have
some ideas
of how to maintain this. And they all know, right? But they made it be a class.
That's
class.
awesome.
I guess it was Ralph's class, probably.
Yeah, it was a weird class because we had this one dude who was an architect teach the first third.
Oh, that was our Waterwise class.
Oh, so this is a different class.
This was our summer Waterwise class. That was the Waterwise class.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah. I wasn't sure I remember that.
Well, maybe
one
I don't remember.
contest.
I thought this was a weed one, and it wasn't. You know, the extension people. It wasn't Jerry Goodspeed.
Oh no, they did it. It was at the farm, right? The Heritage Farm. Is that what you were saying?
It was the Kaysville campus.
Dang, I thought he had us do that too, though.
Maybe you did something different than I did somewhere.
I don't know if I had weeds with you because I think we had weeds together.
Yeah, we had weeds.
And it was with Mike
at Kaysville.
Overson. Yeah, at Kaysville. I think I had it a different year.
Probably
or a different semester.
I had it with Elisa and Jessica.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that one. Because the only class I had with Elisa was like becoming a doctor in horticulture at Penn State. Mm-hmm. I was half tempted when she said she was coming back to steal her family and go back to Pennsylvania. I was like, come and be on the podcast, please. Yeah, just come.
Oh, you should have. She's so smart.
She's great.
She was so fun to work with the extension office. I loved working with her.
I had her with structure and function. That's when I had her.
Nice.
She and I went to Japan, and we were the mom and dad of the group. And I'm like 10 years older than her, but she was still the mom because she was
watching over Paul.
I want to say Paul. I think Paul was out
partying,
enjoying the Japan life. So
it was great. That was so fun.
That's so funny.
Did they take you to? Now I'm switching subjects again. Did they take you to a sake place? Because that was cool. They took us to a traditional sake.
One of the trips?
Yeah.
To see where it was made?
Yeah.
I don't know if we did sake. We did a couple beer places.
Yeah, we did one beer. We did one beer.
I don't remember if we did sake or not.
It's an interesting process.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, though, because they're like, sake is so complicated and how to actually make alcohol. And then you had the French guys that are like, the dude was like, wine is the easiest one to make. It is only one process. Sake has 20. No, I don't know how many processes. But it was just like, man, slap in the face of the wine drinkers over there. And they were from Bordeaux.
Oh, boy. That's really funny.
It's hilarious.
They do horticulture. They do grapes anyway. Huh?
Yeah. They were all biology majors, all the Frenchies.
We didn't have French.
You didn't have French with you, huh?
We had the Filipinos, and that might have been it.
Yeah, we had French and Filipino.
Yeah, I didn't go out and nightlife with them, so we didn't get to know them as much as you did, probably.
We did one that was so fun. We went and did karaoke, but they do it as like a party, like a intimate, like just you and your friends in a room. Like you can rent the size of room you want instead of being in front of people you don't know.
Oh, that's neat.
So karaoke is totally different in Japan, and you order in food and drinks and stuff, and everyone's just having a good time.
You should have gone.
No, I wanted to go. I feel like I have to say this now. The next year, there was a trip to Canada, less cool than Japan, but it was still to Canada for the International Plant Society Propagation Conference, and I did get to go to that one.
Good.
Oh, so there you go.
At least I got to go to that.
International.
It wasn't all expense paid and all of that, but
I mean, Canada is like America's stepchild.
Yeah,
so I guess that counts.
We flew into Washington and then just drove across the border. That was what we did.
You still needed your passport, though.
Oh yeah, I still had to use my passport. Yes.
I want a stamp.
Professor Larry Rupp was.
Oh, okay.
With us.
I mixed him up with. Did I tell you this? I didn't tell you this.
Did we ever have Rupp for anything though?
We had him for one class. It was arboriculture, and he was distance education. I mixed him up with a Kentucky guy. What's his name? You didn't go to Kentucky with us.
Go to Kentucky.
Dang it! What's his name?
The construction guy?
Yeah.
The older guy?
Yeah. What was his name?
Craig.
Craig Ashton.
Ashton, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I mixed him. I went up to Larry Rupp and was like, Craig, it's so good to see you, man. Remember we went to Kentucky? He's like, I'm Larry Rupp. That's not me. I did not do that. And I felt like an idiot. It was the last green conference. And what was hilarious, I went with Freddie. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that's not Craig Ashton. And he knew it. And he like bet me to go up and go talk to him. And he's like, I told you, bro. I told you. It was so funny.
That is so fun. That'd be so embarrassing.
It
Good thing
was.
He's a nice person.
But now he remembers me. I knew I had
You
him.
made an impression.
I did.
There's that jerk.
Well, it was, I know. What was hilarious with that class was he taught it in Logan, satellite,
Oh yeah.
to an empty room. There was nobody in that class.
Oh.
But but all of his students were satellite. So he was like
Talking to himself.
talking to
Oh,
himself.
at the Orem campus too.
Yeah, I think we actually had that one
Oh.
in like Salt Lake, or maybe it was Orem. One time he made us all
You could
go
go anywhere, yeah.
he made us go to Kaysville, and he came down
Okay.
like one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think I remember. We had a couple.
That was
classes with him,
hilarious.
too,
That
like
was so
way.
funny.
Yeah, teaching an empty classroom would be so hard because some of those off-campus ones are so hard to focus in.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's really interacting or
Yeah.
paying that much attention.
Well, even if you do, it's like a big old delay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Push a button. Someone say something. Nobody. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, at least they offered it to us.
Yeah.
It's true.
It was better than online.
Oh,
I hated
so
online.
better than online.
I get way more out of being in a classroom, obviously. But
I tell my kids because they've all taken a few online classes now for college credit in high school and stuff. And get used to it.
yeah,
That is,
that's where it's going.
it is
That
not
is-
uncommon to take an online class. My daughter's at Southern Utah University. She took 2 or 3 online classes. So
Mhm.
as an athlete, though, that's easy because you could take it anywhere. But get used to them.
Yeah.
They do bite, though.
What I found interesting too, like, so my wife was a flight attendant, so we got to go to Thailand, and we went to Paris one time before we had kids, and then we couldn't fly anymore because we had kids. I'm not bitter. No, just kidding.
Paris was just like a 3 days thing, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
remember when you went to Paris and
yeah.
you came to school. Didn't you come to school? Like,
I was
I've
jazzed.
been awake the whole
Yeah.
time. I remember that.
that was a lot of fun. Well, what happened? I got sick.
Yeah.
We
I
stopped.
remember that.
We flew out of Salt Lake to Cincinnati, got the Cincinnati flight to Paris, and it was a red eye. So the plan was to sleep on the plane. I got food sickness or food.
Oh.
What is it?
Food
Poisoning.
poisoning.
Food poisoning in our stop in Cincinnati, and I was throwing up the whole time. So I didn't even get to sleep. And then we're like couldn't get into our Airbnb until like 3 in the afternoon, and we get there at 9.
Oh.
And we're like, what are we gonna do? So we're like walking around Paris, and it was raining, and I am like sick as a dog, and I like just throwing up I'm like delirious. I'm like, let's go that way. Let's go that way. We ended up just sleeping. Well, I fell asleep. We ended up going to our apartment and just sitting by the door until, because it was like, why are we walking around? And this lovely little lady let us in. So she wasn't little. Okay. She was from Normandy, and she let us in and stay in her house. And she was pregnant.
Wow.
She made us tea. We didn't drink it, but whatever, because I'm not a tea drinker. And I fell asleep on her couch,
That was
and
so
she
sweet.
like totally let us in and was very nice to us. I had a thought. Oh, she thought it was crazy that I was going to school, because it's like, here we have a
Because
kid.
you were like 30 or
Yeah,
28.
yeah, I was. It was.
Or how
yeah.
old were you? I don't even know.
Well, it had to have been when I was like 30.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's like, by that time,
You were old.
when you have a family and you're going back to school, it's weird because they have a track system.
Mhm.
So even through like elementary school and high school, they've tracked you where you're going to go. So you can't really linearly advance. Like you get in your, it's very American unique that you are going back to school right now and getting your law degree
Interesting.
to be able to move up. Because they pay a lot of the school. Like it's the school is free, but
Government funded.
they pick what you can apply into.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Just trying to keep the balance of everything.
Based off testing and
Right.
and your abilities and stuff.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I think that's with Asia as a whole too. Like, their major tests are the high school tests, like out of high school, where you get placed. Because once you get into that place, that's where you are.
Yeah, I actually had a roommate from China, and that happened to her. She got stuck in a place that she didn't want to be in. That wasn't her thing. And it was just by some miracle that she was able to get to the States and actually do something she wanted to do, just because she was going to be trapped doing some random thing the rest of her life because she had no choice.
That's what they do.
Ugh.
But then they're also good in that system. They're good because they can pull someone from nowhere and put them in. Like if you have the smarts, but you don't have the means.
That's true.
So they find you and then they make you in a government position because all their best people are in government in China.
Interesting.
Anyway, it's just a different system.
Yeah.
We cultivate different things. Is all.
We cultivate GMOs.
We cultivate GMOs and then we spray the crap out of them with Roundup and they don't die.
Yes.
And we rule the world. Well, we're do you guys feel okay? We okay with ending it right there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hope we gave you something you can print.
I think we did. We got it. I'll edit it too to make it sound awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
You bet.